Yay! Good evening. Good evening. My name is Richard Lewis Brown. Today is October 6, 2021. Local 1000 listens to you. But before we get started this evening and answer all your questions to the best of our ability, we're going to talk about savings in a good way. So here we go. June 2016. Who remembers June 2016? Where were you at during that time period? Anybody know? Remember we were in contract negotiations back then on our prior contract, and it stalled, but we had a board meeting that month. June 26, 2016, and guess what happened? The salary stipend started. Oh, don't you love them salary stipends? And so it started in 2016, and from July through December, $69,616 and 21 cents for the 4 statewide officers. And then, as you know, when our contract had broke down in June, and even though they passed it with the board on June 26, 2016, we, Local 1000, to the credit of the former president, we fought the state of California. And we were going to go on strike. Did you forget? I didn't, because I signed that strike vote. And then on December 2nd, we reached the pathway, because we were scheduled to go on strike on December 5th, 2016, but that did not happen. All right, and so as you will see throughout the years, this salary stipend, we had a high point of $142,779.30 in 2017, and then it went down a little bit. You see it went down more in 2019, and then it went down a little bit more in 2020, and we realized that the former 3 VPs, their union leave was reduced, so their salary stipend was reduced as well for the time they were on union leave. And as you can see here in 2021, $32,823.95. Not a lot of money. Why is that? Because you got a new Local 1000 president, and he told you he would not take the salary stipend. And he didn't do it. And the 3 vice presidents have not taken the salary stipend either. You say, what's the big deal? You should get paid for the job that you do. And now remember, no one told us to run for office. This is a volunteer position. We volunteer. And when you volunteer, sometimes you do a lot of work, you don't get paid all your money, because out of labor of love. That's a real volunteer. You don't have to pay them extra money. They do it because they're passionate. Not angry, not mad, but they're passionate about what they do, because this is not a job. No. This is a passion. When people go to work every day and they say, oh, I'm going to my 9-to-5 job, that's fantastic. But this ain't no job to me. This is passion. You know, I work long hours. Who cares? I love it. I love it. All right. So you say, well, how much money have we spent from June 2016 up to June 2021? All right. Buckle up. Put your seatbelt on. Because I got a big number to show you. You ready? Y'all ready? Okay. $502,209.99. Let me say it for you again. From June 2016 through June 2021, the salary stipends for the 4 statewide officers, $502,209.99. You didn't hear me, because this number is so huge. $502,209.99. Let me tell you something. You give me this kind of money, I can come up. I can buy a house. I can do something. That's a lot of money. A lot of money. Well, you say, well, since you're in office and the VPs are in office with you, what about the projected savings throughout the years, for the next 3 years? We're going to save over $400,000. I'll say it again. We're going to save over $400,000. Now, some of you say, Richard, if we're saving this much money, then why is the staff having a hard time keeping up with all this work? Why is the staff not responding to our phone calls in 48 hours? Do we have enough staff to do all this work? Thank you. Okay? You see the savings projected, over $400,000. Now, do we save that money, or do we reinvest in Local 1000? Do we reinvest in us? Because we're going to let job representation drive us. That's how we drive up membership, by letting our people know we're going to fight for you. Job representation. And you know, since I got sworn in on June 30th, what have I been doing? Fighting for you. Fighting so hard for you that some of you say, we don't like the fights that he's doing right now. Others do like to fight. But we're going to create a new culture for Local 1000. And it starts with the salary stipend. Now, that number is so huge. $209.99. It's a huge number. But it's serious. When you're dedicated to serve as a public servant, you don't need salary stipends when you're fulfilling your passion. It's nice, but you don't need it. Just the reward of serving you, Local 1000 represent employees, and you're paying for my regular salary plus my retirement, you have given me more than I can ask for, and I deeply appreciate it. All right, we'll get started, and I have some books in front of me. I expect some questions tonight about certain issues, and I will answer these issues to the best of my ability. And if I'm in private talks with Cal HR, I won't reveal those conversations. Not yet. Not until it's public. All right, so let's get started. First caller, Frank Askin. Good evening, Frank. How are you?
I'm doing just phenomenal, Mr. President, and yourself?
I'm doing just great tonight. Thank you for asking.
See, I got a question. My big homie, where's Fred T. Jr. at tonight, and who's he pulling for? Is he pulling for the Dodgers tonight?
You know what, Frank? I'm glad you asked that question. Fred G. Jr. No, not Fred?
Fred.
Yeah, Fred G. Jr., he's represented by a union, and he has work hours. And this is outside his work hours. And I don't know who he's pulling for. He hasn't told me. And if you think that the Dodgers is the right team to pull for, I would say, Frank, you are wrong. I'm from St. Louis. I don't go against the Cardinals. Okay. Thanks for calling, Frank.
I got another question.
Yeah, go ahead, Frank. Go ahead.
Quick.
Go ahead.
You get my email from yesterday regarding the statewide telework policy that was on DGS's website. Did you receive my email that I had sent you?
I didn't receive it, but I did print out. Are you referring to the statewide telework policy 0181?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so we're on the same page. So you kind of jumped out ahead of all the other callers. I have received it. We are in conversations with Cal HR. We have not agreed to anything yet. So I know people are asking, have we agreed to something already? We have not. We had a conversation today with Cal HR. Right?
Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay. You're very welcome. Okay. I know I'm going to get more calls on this, so I'll have to repeat myself, but that's fine. And we'll stay consistent, and we'll talk about other things as well. Next caller, Alfred Taurez Jr. Good evening, Alfred.
Good evening, Mr. President. How's everything going tonight?
It's going just great. How are you?
And you know it was coming. You know it's coming. So, this gentleman, he touched the base on what I have to talk about. Considering that 2021 telework policy, which is now allowing each state agency to come up with their own policy in 12 months, following those established guidelines, however, government operations still states that we're in an emergency telework environment, even though there's a new established policy. What do agencies follow? The emergency telework or an unestablished policy? Because these policies need to be vetted with DGS and approved in order for the agencies to enforce. Also in our contract, it states that any changes to telework need to be given 30 days in advance, but recently my office, which notified us that within less than 15 days, we are now going from little to no time in the office to now for 100% in the office. And in our master contract, Article 21.1b kind of explains everything for us in detail, which I just want to know, what are we supposed to follow? Because some of this information they provided us was very confusing, questions weren't being answered, and right now I'm very frustrated with this.
Okay.
Light on this issue.
All right, Alfred, you told me you were coming, so I know you're here. So, first thing, we have not agreed to any of this. Let me be crystal clear. Let me go back, make sure I quote this correct. What Frank had asked about. The DGS that's on the website, DGS website, statewide telework policy 0181. We have not agreed to that. Local 1000 has not agreed to that. And I hope the staff is watching me.
Okay.
Now, you also brought about on page 341 of the contract, section D, within 30 calendar days of the date of such notification, they got to let us know before they do this major change. You are correct, and they didn't let us know this. And I think we're referring to that memo, that letter from DMV.
Right.
Right.
The DMV letter that states, that telling, basically, under duress is kind of how I felt. They were forcing myself and coworkers to sign the documentation for us to have it all signed so they could have it on file, or they're saying, oh, if we don't sign it, it's going to be thrown on file. Okay, I get all that, but the problem is that we're not given the proper due process. And the union wasn't notified, and I know I touched with you a little bit before this meeting today.
Hold on 1 second here. Okay, you are absolutely right. And so I want to make sure, hold on 1 second here. I want to make sure. I want to make sure you contact your job steward and headquarters DMV, or you can contact your DLC president,
I have.
Angelique Marino. Okay. Yeah, I want to make sure that you file a grievance on this situation, and everyone in the headquarters DMV should be filing grievances on this failure to give us a 30-day meet and confer on demanding that people come back to work. You said a lot. Here's the second part. You talked about I'm sorry, go ahead.
I didn't load it up.
Right.
But go back to what policy do we follow? The emergency telework policy, which is still in place, or are these unestablished policies?
Well, I think legally, since everyone's watching me, including headquarters DMV, if they sent you a memo, until we're able to grieve that, I would say you would follow that memo, because we don't want them to say that you're being insubordinate. And that's why it's important that we grieve this really quickly. Now,
that's fair enough.
Okay, so the other problem you talked about was all the agencies doing different things on telework, and so we're talking with College HR so we can have a uniform. Right. We can have a uniform telework agreement, so that every agency will use the same type of agreement. Now, how they develop and listen to this, how they develop their own permanent telework plan in regards to their agency, that they'll have control over. But that telework agreement will be standardized. That's what we're trying to work with on College HR, to have a standardized plan for that. So, which brings up another point that you mentioned. I thought that half the union was going to throw me off into that American River because they say that this COVID situation is out of control and we're still under a great, great pandemic. And so I would say to them, okay.
We are.
Okay, so you're right. So if that is the case, then why is the state trying to bring people back to work all of a sudden? Somebody's not telling the truth. So you can't say we're under this great pandemic and we need you to show us your vaccination card or be subjected to COVID testing, and then you're still trying to bring everybody back to work. You're trying to have it both ways, and we're not going to give it to you both ways. As long as I'm the president of Local 1000, as long as I sit in this seat, we are not rolling over for these people. And I don't care if they hear me say it or not, because I told them. I'll stop there. I'll stop there.
And rooting. There's a lot of us that are rooting for this because and I'll be an advocate if I have to for everyone. And where I work, I don't mind. I speak my mind, and I feel justice will prevail, and I hope it does, because what they're doing is not right.
So you are correct, and we were able to get a victory with this recent COVID settlement that covers everyone that works out of CDCR who are not healthcare workers. So before someone calls and lights me up on that, we are still trying to get an emergency meeting with Cal HR to handle that situation. But now with this particular situation with headquarters DMV, we need an emergency meeting for that as well. And I'm glad that you called to verify that with me.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thank you for taking my call today.
Oh, you're very welcome, sir. Thank you, Alfred.
Yeah.
All right, give me 1 second, y'all. All right, next caller. Oh, boy. Yolanda Williams. Hi, Yolanda.
Okay. Hello there, Richard. Hey, finally, I'm on here. Okay.
All right.
At 5:20, they send me the link. I didn't get on here last week, so kudos to whoever got my email right now and sent it to me. So big up.
Thank you, Keith.
But anyway,
right.
What I want to say is I agree with the last caller in regards to teleworking. I'm with you, partner, because the fact of the matter is, with the teleworker working policy right now, where there's everybody making their own policy and it's not uniform, because they're picking and choosing supervisors. This was on another call before, a couple of weeks ago. Somebody said something about the supervisors are, picking who they want to telework. This is why it's so important for the union to get this in unison, because it is so unfair to go to work every day to see in the workplace that you're the only one, because you speak your mind like the other person did, okay, about the unfairness of the policy, and then they, go and retaliate on you and make you come in every day or whatever, so there's things like that. So it's definitely something that the union has to really work on. Like you said, you're not going to roll over. Don't. Stand up, because this is happening to a lot of members, and we pay too much money for you guys not to fight for us. And then this other one I wanted to talk to you about is administrative remedies. When you have a grievance, I want to know, because I don't believe nobody's really trying to help me. So I'm saying, everywhere I call, they want to tell me you have to go through administrative remedies. So is that true? Do I have to go through you guys and then nothing is really happening for me? Everything is happening at my job, dignity clause ain't being looked at right away. They're going through my stuff, taking things, oh, well, it's state property, but, you need to give me notice. I could have something in my locker that I didn't want you to see. I'm just saying, or I could have a valuable thing and it was stolen. I mean, anything. They're just going in your locker just because you were on medical leave and taking stuff off your desk. this is bad, you know? And I want to know what the union says about administrative remedies. Can we just go and do our own thing? Do we have to go through you guys?
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, so Yolanda, first the telework. Yolanda, you can believe in your heart that the conversation I had today with people, and I'm not going to say who the people, well, I'll say people within the union. I can say that. I echoed everything you said about that uniform telework policy. And I hope that they heard you tonight, because what I said to them today is what you're saying. We need a uniform policy, and we don't want to give these state agencies the ability to pick who they want on telework and who they don't want. We need strong language. And this is why I was insistent with the people I was talking to today, and I hope they're watching, because when I tell them that I get heated up about this telework, Yolanda Williams is one of the people that will heat me up through text, phone call, and in front of everyone. So I hope they hear this, because I have your back, Yolanda Williams. Believe that. And I'm going to get to you about this other situation.
It's just not me.
No, I know it's not. I know it's not.
People.
I know.
You know, I'm
right.
just speaking right now. But I mean, there's more people out there that probably not saying much, but they going through the same thing.
You're absolutely right.
They're being told to come in, and
that's
everybody
right.
else that's in their little crew or their posse,
mm-hmm.
you know, whatever, you know, that they get to telework. That's wrong, ain't right, and you guys need to fight to change that for real.
Well, listen, you know, when it comes to fighting, I don't mind. And I'm doing everything I can to ensure we get a great telework policy. And when you were asking about the administrative remedy, you can go through the union. If you don't think we're good enough, you can always pursue your own personal route. We value the money you pay us to run this union. And we value all of our represented employees, period. And so we want to continue to earn your respect and your money. And I cannot tell you everything that I've tried to do, particularly for you, over hearing things on fighting for people. But there are people here in the union that know how I have acted regarding you, and I'll leave it at that. Now.
Okay, one other thing. What happened to my shirt, Richard?
That shirt should have been sent to you, ma'am, Yolanda. 2 shirts were sent to you.
No, sir. No, I have not received the shirt, sir.
Hold on one second.
But anyway, that I'm sure that's gonna come, right?
No, no. You're gonna get that this week.
Fine.
No, you're gonna get that this week. Hold on. No, you're gonna get this week. You're not gonna ever call again and say you get them 2. You want 1 shirt or 2 shirts? How many shirts do you want?
Whatever you send, it's fine.
Hold on one second. You're for sure you sent Yolanda Williams. Okay, Yolanda, send me the text. We're gonna verify your address, because I'm being told. I'm being told we sent you. How many shirts have we sent her?
A t-shirt and a polo.
Yolanda Williams. Yeah. You're for sure. Okay, send me your address again, and we're gonna verify that we sent you 2 shirts out already, Yolanda.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very
Bye-bye.
welcome. Okay. Yolanda is absolutely right. She's not speaking just for herself, and neither is Alfred Taurez Jr. I have tried to have a message with people here in the union about this issue called telework. And a lot of things were talked about regarding the language of telework, how strong it needs to be, and a few other issues. And you know, they say, well, Richard, if you upset the state of California, they'll just walk away. That's what I'm being told. But I have people like Yolanda Williams and Alfred Taurez Jr. saying, "What are you doing? Are you fighting for us?" I'm fighting for you, and I'm going to show it to you. All right, next caller, Michael Gus. Good evening, Michael. Michael Gus.
Hi, Mr. President. Thanks. Sorry about that. I pressed the unmute button.
It's okay.
Number one, I want to say I work in the office every day. There are people who are our union brothers and sisters who work in the office every day. And I respect people who telework and telework well. But my concern with the telework policy as someone who works in the office every day is it creates a two-tiered disciplinary system for people who are teleworking where they can take the telework away from you as discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I'm in the office, I'm being disciplined beyond that first, and I have a concern about that. I also want to say, I appreciate how you say you're fighting for us, but I'm not sure that you're fighting for us effectively. I Googled Richard Lewis Brown, Gavin Newsom, and one of the first things that came up is Gavin Newsom has lost his mind, which is a direct quote from you. And when you're negotiating with someone, calling names in the press is maybe not that effective. And then maybe if he had lost the recall, which you seem to bet on, that would have been effective, but he won by 25 points.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's some things that I think, are realities that you could improve on. And I'll just say that. I think it's always better to treat people with respect, which reminds me, because I think, some of that got caught up with, from my limited understanding of this, with what happened with the toll booth workers. And I'm sorry I missed the call last week, but I had family matters to attend to. But 2 weeks ago, I called in and asked about the toll booth workers and our brothers and sisters in the toll booths in the Bay Area who are SEIU members were laid off. And you had your thing about the CDCR, which is okay. I mean, they're union brothers and sisters, although they're not members of SEIU 1000 for the most part. But what have we done for our brothers and sisters who are in the toll booth union? Because it seems to me there was a certain agenda in protesting over one thing, and that agenda doesn't exist in protesting over the toll booth workers. And so that's just my 2 cents, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen.
Hey, Michael, don't hang up for a second. You bring him back?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, so I'm glad that Michael called in. I'm gonna talk about the toll booth operators really quickly. That happened before I was sworn in. Now, I don't have that particular email in front of me. I forgot that. That's the one thing I forgot. That happened before I was sworn in. And I don't talk about who signed off on that agreement because I don't want to throw anybody underneath the bus. But if you keep bringing up this toll booth operator, well, then I'll have to find that email and tell you exactly what happened before I was sworn in on June 30th. Second thing, I'm fighting for everybody represented by Local 1000, not just for those up there in CCC. Whether they're dues-paying members or not, they are represented by our union. I have been informed that they're trying to do things against those in DMV. DLC President 704, Latasha Brown, has educated me. We're going to fight for DMV. We're going to fight for anybody represented by Local 1000 that's under this contract. Period. It's just that simple. Other part, you talked about me betting against Gavin to win his recall. That's not true. I have said repeatedly, he'll beat this recall. That's what I said. When I said that he had lost his mind, I believe I made that statement before I took office because Local 1000 on June 2nd, 2021, through an emergency board meeting, said that we're going to give $1 million to SIU State Council to help Gavin fight his recall, and the official position of the union is to oppose the recall. When I took office on June 30th, I've never officially opposed that recall. Never have, and you won't find it on video. The other part about, trying to build...
I have photos of yes on recall.
No, that's not me. That's not me.
SEIU 10
No,
at that protest.
Michael.
So that happened.
No.
I can share the
Well, you know what? Then you'll have to send... I'll tell you what. The staff was at the tent, working the tent. So if you got a photo of someone that came down that said yes on the recall, that was their own personal freedom in this great country to say
It's
that.
a box of signs, Mr. President.
What I'm telling you is this. Those signs did not come from Local 1000 with no union label. We did not do that. If you've got pictures, then send it to us. Here's the second thing. There was also rumors that I called the police at that rally. That's a lie. So I'm glad that you called in, because when people...
I never said that.
No, not you. But other people are spreading these rumors. And that's why I love when people call in, because now I get a chance to address it head on, because I know what comes out of my mouth. And I know what I've said before I took office and after I took office. So when people think that I'm loose with my words, you better think again. You better think again. I know what I'm talking about. Oh, now, I want to talk about the, what you brought up a great point. People who go to work versus those who work from home, telework. We have to make sure in this in this telework side letter agreement that there is no disparity, that people who go to work are not treated any differently, and also the people who work from home are not treated any differently in regards to discipline or promotional issues. We have to make sure that language is in there, and I don't want to talk too much, but you have made a great point about that. And then finally, the relationship with Gavin Newsom.
I'm glad we found an area of agreement.
Yeah, and wait, we're going to have another area of agreement. the relationship with Gavin Newsom. And I've said this repeatedly, but obviously maybe you missed it. So I'll say it for you with respect. You know that I don't have a relationship with Gavin Newsom. Okay, fair enough. It's hard for me to make a relationship with somebody that demanded that I give up 2 days of my pay for 2 straight fiscal years, but yet they call themselves union friendly, and I voted for him in 2018. I'm sorry. When you take my money, our little relationship, our little friendship is kind of over. But since I represent 100,000 people, I'll continue to fight and try to work with Gavin Newsom. Here's the second thing. The former president had a beautiful relationship with Gavin Newsom. She has his phone number in her phone. And when she started that telework conversation in September of 2020, she could have easily wrapped that up and got some federal worker essential premium pay. If not from the federal government, because of all the stipulations, she could have got that money from the state budget, because she has that relationship with Gavin Newsom. But none of that happened. Because if she had got telework, permanent telework, along with the essential worker premium pay, I can guarantee you Richard Lewis Brown would not be sitting here right now. That's a promise. But thanks for your call, Michael. Next caller, Brian Poulin.
Hey.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Richard.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. First time calling in, bargaining unit 17. Just had a question for you. I'm not sure if this is quite the right avenue to call, but I work for Department of State Hospitals. I'm curious about staffing ratios and them following the minimum ratios. Is that something you would be able to discuss?
So, someone whispered, quick, the URC, don't answer that. Listen, your staffing ratios at the state hospital, you know better than I do that they're not right. But you also know that if you call CDCR, they'll tell you about those staffing ratios that haven't been right for how many years. And they continue to do what they want to do because it's not stated in our contract. So when we bargain for the next contract, if you're asking me, whoever the bump chair is and the bump team is for 17, should they look at the staffing ratios for the nurses in the hospitals? I'd say yes, they should. In fact, if you send me the email, I'll put it in my email folder for issues that must be addressed in the next contract. Can I guarantee you that we can get the state to act accordingly and hire the people? I can't guarantee it, but it's an issue. And it's probably been an issue.
Yeah,
and it's probably been an issue for how many years?
Oh, go ahead.
It's probably been an issue for
a long time, but it's severe now. So
it's severe because of the COVID.
Man.
Because of COVID.
I think that's part of it. This mismanagement of just staffing levels in general. My understanding is on the AM and PM shifts, it's supposed to be a minimum of 8 to 1 per patient, and they just don't even follow that anymore. It's whatever they can afford to staff.
It sounds like well, I don't know if it's a safety issue, but you may have to file agreements on a safety issue if you feel that it's unsafe, that you don't have enough staffing. I hear people in CDCR tell me all the time that they're working in an unsafe environment, in the prison walls because of the staffing.
Okay, is there another way to go other than calling the MRC line? I called that. I've been talking with a gentleman on there for about 2 months, and I haven't got any progress.
So were you able to talk to your job steward or the rep in your area so we could file a grievance?
I I was told there is no steward at my facility. There's somebody that is in the process of getting sworn in, but that's about it. I went to the local meeting.
And
Didn't get much information there either.
so here's the wonderful thing. I mean, people criticize me for making people job stewards. You're probably smart enough, more than intelligent enough, to be a job steward and read this contract. And so what people have been doing is they've been calling me, and I've been making people job stewards. And the VP of Organizing Representation, Annika Walls, has been giving them expedited, quote, fast-track job stewardship training, because we don't want to ever hear someone say there is no job steward in their work site. We don't want to hear that. And so if you want to call me, 408 207 2339. And I would recommend to you and to your colleagues, why don't all of you call me? We do not want people in these job sites without job stewards. And before they say, well, we don't want to make anyone a job steward because they're not qualified enough, let me tell you something. If you can work for the state of California and put up with all this nonsense you've been putting up with all these years, with non-enforceable contracts and you losing money and dealing with bad behaving, egotistical, self-serving supervisors that handpick who they want for teleworking and who they don't want for teleworking, if you can do all that, I'll take my chance with you as a job steward for Local 1000. Thank you very much, Brian. All right, next caller.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, sir. Cheryl Butters. Good evening, Cheryl.
Hi, Richard.
How are you?
Hi. Hey, you had said something earlier about CDCR and COVID. I'm assuming you were talking about vaccines, healthcare versus the rest of CDCR, and something about an emergency meeting. Do you recall what you said?
Right, because for those, it was the memo by CDPH, healthcare workers, and they're primarily in the CDCR world, that they have to get vaccinated, and I think it's October 15th, so we're running out of time. And so this recent COVID settlement agreement on September 28th covers non-healthcare workers who are outside of CDCR. So I've been informed to please be crystal clear on these two different issues.
So are you fighting, I'm sorry, are you saying that you're fighting that the others that are not in healthcare do not have to vaccinate? Because I know that's a big concern with a lot of my coworkers.
The other people outside of CDCR, if they don't want to vaccinate, they can use the religious or the medical exemption so that they don't have to vaccinate.
Right.
And now, for those healthcare workers in CDCR, we have to still have the conversation with Cal HR about that one. And it has to happen really quick.
Okay, so this is more about the healthcare workers rather than the mandate that is going to be implemented on all workers at CDCR that Judge Tigar had signed off on.
That's the one we're talking about. But I'm referring to those healthcare workers. But what Judge Tiger is saying is if you work in that CDCR, quote, all of you are, quote, I guess basically involved in a situation where you all have to be vaccinated. And so some people say, well, there's nothing you can do against a federal judge who's mandating that those people in CDCR all, quote, be vaccinated.
Okay, so are we fighting that, or is that just going to happen?
No, we're trying to get this meet and confer with the state of California as quickly as possible. We are still fighting for you.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
You're very welcome. One moment. All right, let's go to the next caller, Kelly Newby. Good evening, Kelly. Good evening, Kelly. Okay, so Kelly's in the queue. All right, so we'll go to DLC President 772, Mary Dela Cruz, and then we may come back to Kelly Newby. All right. Mary, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate these calls. You give us such vital information. And another thing I like is I like to hear from my fellow members. This is something that I might share some light on to the gentleman that called about the staff ratio. The CDPH, the HFEN, and our state facilities unit, we are the ones that go out and investigate. And so, yes, there's title regulations, state regulations, and federal regulations regarding staff issues. However, I'm going to give you a little loophole. There's not only staff ratios, but there's also a carve-out caveat that says, I don't care if you have above your staffing ratios. If you cannot meet the needs of that patient, you're in violation. So it's not just a number. It's being able to meet the needs of the prisoner, the patient, or whatever. You have to be able to show that you can meet the needs. If not, that's a violation. I'm out of Fresno, but we have offices up and down the state. I can tell you each office, CDPH office, depending on what area you're in, you can call that office and file a formal complaint against the state with CDPH, and we will go out and investigate. And the terminology you need to say, even though we're talking about ratios, the needs are not being met. And that's a federal violation. And so for Fresno, those in the Central Valley, and we cover from Stanislaus to, I believe it's Kern, and the area code is 559-437-1500. And I'm just going to put it out there. If you don't know what your office is, call the Fresno office and tell them, hey, I live in this city. What is my CDPH office in my area? And they'll give it to you. And so I want to share that information because, yes, there is a staffing ratio. However, the sidebar on that is they can be above the staff ratio, but if they're not meeting the needs of the patient or the resident or the prisoner, they're in violation. So I hope that helps someone out, and thank you for your excellent work, and thank you for my COVID kit. I appreciate that on behalf of 772. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for calling in, Mary. And we sent that kit to all the DLC presidents because we know how important the DLC presidents are to Local 1000, and we realize that we're a member-ran union. All right, next caller, Florence Stinger. Good evening, Florence.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Good evening, Richard. Thanks for taking my call.
You're very welcome.
DLC 752 Union Stewart.
That's right.
I just wanted to say that you brought my hope back into the union. I became a union steward right before you became president because I saw a lot of things that weren't being done at my district office, and I realized we needed some help and representation. So I started the journey, and it was pretty much a self-taught program. And there were a few people along the way, Ron Ronson being one of them, who was extremely helpful in mentoring. But when you became president, you really brought my hope back, because one of the things that I respect most about you is your fairness and your honesty. When you say you're going to do something, you do it. I have not always agreed with you on everything, but the times that we have disagreed in email or conversations, you've always stood your ground, and you've given a good explanation as to why you believe something is what you should be doing as opposed to what others think you should be doing. Those are admirable qualities, and I really respect you for it. Those are things that are really lacking in leadership today in society, and particularly in politicians. I like your political stance. I know you're a registered Democrat. You're very public about that. But at the same time, you believe in representing everybody. It doesn't matter if you're red or if you're blue, you represent everybody. And that's something that I, being a nurse, I do the same thing in my profession. I used to work at CDCR, and I would have correctional officers say to me, don't be so nice to that person. You don't know what he's in here for. And as a nurse, I had a job to treat everybody, and I had a job to treat everybody fairly. And those are qualities that I see in you, and I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for everything that you have done for the Heffens and for standing behind what you said you were going to do. Thank you.
All right. Job Stewart 752 Florence Stinger. I deeply appreciate that phone call. I try to be as fair and honest as possible. And I realize that there's times when people call me, and sometimes they're great calls, and sometimes I can be abrupt and say, okay, this is what it is, and I'm done talking, and I'm moving on. And I don't mean to offend anyone. If I've offended anyone from today, or from the past, or going into the future, I ask you to please forgive me. You made that comment about politics. And many people don't believe that I'm a registered Democrat. And so when they were on Facebook saying that, I was a Republican, a Trumplican, or whatever, these people know that that was a lie. I could almost say in the sense that they were trying to defame my character, because it's on my createexcellence7437.com website on my transparency tab that I'm a registered Democrat, and they knew that, but they didn't care. And so, I'll even take it a step deeper, because I always give people a little bit more than what they ask for. It depends on how long they listen to the video. Some people say, Richard, you're a Republican hiding as a Democrat. And I would tell you, you're not going to disrespect my great auntie. My great auntie was a Democrat. She said poor people were Democrats. I said, okay, I guess that's what I'll be when I grow up. In reality, I'm probably an independent. A little Democrat, a little Republican, a lot of Libertarian, a lot of Green Party. But the party I belong to is one of the major two. But I can still work well with people who are not Democrats. And I can work well with Democrats as well. Now, maybe when it comes to money, I'm a little conservative, unless it's coming to our paycheck and us getting that money, or into helping others obtain a substantial pay increase. Then I'm very open-minded, because we want to reward people for the hard work that they do. And this is a capitalist country with socialism built in. But I want to thank you for that phone call, being honest and being fair, and sometimes saying things that people don't want to hear. I get it. But that's been the story of my whole life. And a lot of times I say things where I say, oh, I believe in God through Jesus Christ. People get mad at me when I say that. When I tell them I had a dream from God that put me in this position, they don't want to hear that. When I say I speak with passion and conviction, but yet it's construed as being the angry black man, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to believe the cops came to my house on May 25th at 5 o'clock in the morning. They don't want to hear that. But you're going to hear it. And you're not going to back me up. And if I don't act presidential enough for you, if you don't like my temperament, well, maybe I can work on it. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. Told you, keep watching these videos. But, I'm here for a reason. God put me here for a reason. The spirit world put me here for a reason. We're going to fight. I hate that I can't get everything done as fast as you want me to get it done. That's why I'm reviewing this COVID agreement. And even though it's not perfect, someone sent me this. This was a quote by Governor Newsom back on July 26th. All state employees and all workers at hospitals and healthcare facilities across California will be required to show proof of COVID vaccination under a state policy announced Monday. And those who are unable or refuse to do so will have to be tested at least once a week. And we're still fighting this. He thought we were just going to roll over. In fact, in this COVID agreement that doesn't cover the healthcare workers, it says here, the state, who's the respondent, agrees to suspend and conclude its vaccine verification program as described in the letter they sent on July 26, 2021, as applied to state employees represented by SEIU, and notify the departments promptly. This is important because we didn't roll over. Of course, we had to do a cease and desist. Didn't expect that. And then we did an unfair labor practice that went to PERB. And PERB said, you will sit down with Local 1000, the state of California. They told them that. And we all got together and we were able to figure things out. And let me say this, because I don't think people have talked much about this. What's it say that here? Respondent, which is the state of California, agrees that if discipline has been issued contrary to this provision, such action is inconsistent with this settlement agreement, and state departments shall take, keyword shall, and we didn't put endeavor behind it or make a commitment or any of that nonsense, shall take all necessary administrative steps to revoke the disciplinary action or charges therein that are contrary to this agreement. Respondent further agrees that no state employee represented by SEIU shall be retaliated or discriminated against for declining to disclose their vaccination status. That's big. That's big. That protects our privacy. This is really, really huge. And yes, it's not the perfect agreement because they say, for vaccination, if you don't want to be vaccinated, okay, but that COVID test, if you don't have a medical reason or a religious reason, then you have to still be COVID tested. So we couldn't get it perfectly, but the state actually sat down with us. Now that's a step forward. Is it a perfect agreement? No, it's not perfect. But then again, look at your leader. I'm not perfect either. Now I know you're perfect. I got the message. All right, next caller. So we spoke to Yolanda. So Kelly's back. So we're gonna go to Kelly, Lorraine, and Angela, and then we'll go back to Yolanda Williams. Okay, so Kelly, can you hear us? Hi, Kelly. Hi, Kelly. Okay, so we're going to go.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, Kelly, go ahead.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to respond to Mr. Poland earlier, who had concerns about the nursing staffing ratios. And I just wanted to share that not only CDPH, but also CMS, Center for Medicare Services, have issued waivers, if you will, regarding the staffing ratios due to the COVID and influx at the facility. However, I must say that you are absolutely correct. They still need to file concerns and complaints with the MRC, and subsequently there are steps in California they can take and should take to ensure that they have adequate staffing levels, and that can be done through the emergency medical system. If they cannot accommodate them, then they have a responsibility to notify the federal government and subsequently get some additional assistance for those facilities. That's all I had to say. Thank you so much for all you do. Take care.
Thank you for calling in, Kelly. And hopefully Brian heard that. All right, next caller. Angela Pruitt. Good evening, Angela.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I had to try to unmute myself. Okay, so, hey, Richard.
How you doing?
All right, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
So, okay, so I got two things. One is the reading that you just did about the COVID testing for the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. If you're unvaccinated, that you're required to do the testing weekly, right?
Correct.
Okay, so if you're vaccinated, why are we still doing testing weekly? We're still doing that. So when I asked my department head, have they heard anything more about when we can stop doing this weekly testing? If you're vaccinated, we're still required to come in the office once a week and do the testing. So I didn't hear that in that reading that you just did.
You're right, because it's not. I'm sorry.
So that's what I'm saying. So nobody can give me an answer because I'm like, okay, if we're vaccinated, y'all are required to give you this and give you that. And you're still saying, okay, but you still got to come in once a week. So that's ridiculous.
So.
Because I think it's all just so they can say they want to see us in the office. So I got to get up from here, go all the way down to my office just to go get a test and then drive all the way back where I got to go. That's ridiculous.
So to answer that really quickly, I'm on page 2 of a settlement agreement that applies to people who are not healthcare workers in CDCR. And it says here on number 3, following the execution of the settlement agreement, respondent, which is the state, will notify all departments who employ state employees represented by SEIU that such state employees will not be subject to the respondent's COVID-19 testing protocol. I can't say the word correctly. Testing protocol if, number 1, the employee has been demonstrated they are fully vaccinated for COVID-19 by providing documentation. So that's the new agreement as of September 28th. And so I'm reading this word for word, and then they have some more information. As specified on page 2, paragraph exhibit 1, that the person received at least 14 days prior either the second dose in a 2-dose COVID vaccine series or a single-dose COVID-19 vaccine. Vaccines must be FDA approved.
Okay.
And have emergency. Okay.
So where can I reference that to my department head, because they tell you all kinds of stuff and they don't always tell you the facts.
Right.
They'll just tell you what they want you to do. So where can I reference that so that I can bring that up to them?
This is on our website.
Okay.
Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember the exact part of it. It's on our website.
Okay.
And we have the link to this settlement agreement, and it's talking about. Let me see if I can.
Okay.
Hold on one second here. So we're gonna go to our fantastic.
Came out September the 20th.
Yeah.
September the 28th, 21.
Yeah, and we posted on our website so people would know. Hold on one second.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put in here. And look. Oh, come on now. So I see.
You can always give it to me.
Okay.
Just send it to me later, Richard. That
Yeah,
way we
okay.
don't hold up everybody.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. I just want to find it really quick.
Yeah.
Because I know it's on here.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Because it's supposed to be where you can see it really quickly. It's on the home page, okay. And maybe because I'm on I'm on my phone. Wait a minute here.
Okay.
Is it the discipline protection?
Discipline protection?
Is that Because it's on
Here it is. So it's under news and events. State.
Okay.
Then it says the COVID-19 resources.
Okay.
And then it has more information. You know what? I just saw this. But the fact is, when people tell me they can't find things on this website fast enough, I argue with them. But here I am on the spot in front of everybody, and I can't find this information fast enough. Where'd you find it at? No, I'm dead serious, because I'm tired of people eating me up, and then here I am on Zoom, and they're right. Where'd you find it at on that desktop?
On the home page, if you scroll down, probably you're on your phone.
So, but it should be the same trick on the phone. You have to do it both ways, desktop or cell. So where is it on your desktop on the home page? Because I'm looking, and I see the COVID thing. It said COVID-19 resources, information.
Union Wins Discipline? Is it the Union Win Discipline Protection? That one? Because it's on the home page. Like the two videos there's a video.
So she's asking if this is right.
Okay. Did you find it? Where'd you find
You
it?
can, like I
Oh,
said.
yeah.
Union Wins.
That is
So where's
true.
it end? Where's it at?
That's it.
It's like the third.
So it's on the home page at the bottom?
Mhm.
Oh, then you know what? Maybe I didn't go all the way to the home page. Maybe it's my fault. Hold on.
Oh, that's not the right one.
Okay, so on the home page, it is on the home page. If you go all the way down to the bottom, Union Wins Discipline Protection and Vaccine Perfect. Whew, thank God. Whew, thank God. All right, so it's at the bottom of the page. At the bottom of the page on this cell phone. Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
And so, so thank you.
You're very welcome.
One other thing the other one is, where's my T-shirt? Because I didn't get it either.
You didn't get your T-shirt?
Yeah, I didn't get my T-shirt. No, sir.
All right, so I know we have your correct
So,
address.
Somebody just sent me my T-shirt.
What kind of shirt you want? The
Yeah.
purple or the polo? The purple polo, or which T-shirt you're talking about?
I don't know.
Okay.
Whatever T-shirt that they
All right.
they asked me for my size, I gave it to them. Tell them to figure it out. I don't care.
Okay. Sounds
and
good.
The last thing I just want to give, and the last thing I wanted to talk about was the gentleman that was talking about the staffing ratio, and Mary gave some good points, and another lady did too. But I also want to reference the AFL letters, because I had just had a meeting, I think it was yesterday, and that they said that a new AFL letter was coming out regarding those staffing waivers. So that if you went into any of these facilities and they wasn't up to the staffing patient ratio, that no longer applies. So I'm sorry I don't have the exact AFL number, but they should look into the AFL letters, because they come out, well, I get them almost damn near daily. So be diligent about opening those things up and looking at them, because they were just talking about the nursing staffing ratios, and they were saying if we went to any place and they were out of ratios, but we were to cite them. So that's just a piece of information I wanted to share. But like I said, I'm sorry I don't have the exact AFL letter concerning staffing waivers, because they had them up to a certain point, but a new one I heard was just released about the nursing staffing ratios, because we're getting a lot of complaints from nurses about this very issue about not having staffing. So whoever the gentleman is, I just want to say I'm sorry about the not being able to give you a little bit more information, but I know that they said that there is a new AFL letter. That's it.
Well, okay.
Thank you for taking my call.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for calling in, Angela. Okay, so we'll get to the next caller, DOC 752, President Christina Evitt. Hi, Christina. Hi, Christina. So please go on and unmute for us. So Christina, hit your unmute button. Just click, and it's gonna.
No response.
Okay, so we'll come back to Christina. We'll go to Lorraine. Good evening, Lorraine. Good evening, Lorraine. How are you?
Same, not unmuted.
Okay.
Oh, there she
Good
is.
evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, it wouldn't unmute. I apologize for that. Thank you for taking my call, Richard.
Oh, you're very
I have a
welcome.
very short question. It's just about the vaccine mandate. I'm sure you've discussed it, but this is my first time on this platform. So thank you for answering this question. And all it is I see the victory where you posted on the website that you were just talking about them not continuing with the vaccine mandates or disclosure until they meet with the union. So I'm with bargaining unit number 1. Have they come to an agreement?
Yes. This COVID settlement agreement. This covers those in bargaining unit 1. What it doesn't cover is the healthcare workers who work in CDCR. So we still have to meet with the state about that particular situation.
Okay, so one quick question then regarding that is it says they must, the state must ensure that every department allows religious or medical exemptions from vaccination requirements. Does that include the testing?
Yes. So.
Okay.
So when we talk about the vaccination, the religious or medical accommodation, for the vaccination, the religious or medical accommodation, that covers that. For the testing, you also would have to have a religious exemption or a medical accommodation.
So I would just pretty much provide them a letter because I choose not to disclose. So it's nothing bad, but I keep on getting these emails from not our manager, but the manager's manager that says, thank you for updating your supervisors. We have provided updated COVID-19, sorry, it doesn't make sense, but that's how it came through, to the health and safety program. Based on your response, or in this case, non-response, you'll be receiving an email to set up an account with Color. What does with Color for COVID testing mean? I've asked and they're not able to provide me a clear answer. It just sounds strange.
Can you please email me that? And then we can try to find out the answer?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so my email is...
Okay.
Yeah, my email is RL...
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. RL Brown at SEIU1000.org.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
So then I would just have to provide a letter myself that explains my own request for religious exemption or otherwise to not be tested, and provide that to my manager. And that should suffice.
That should suffice. Can I guarantee you it will be accepted? We're still working on the, quote, perfect religious letter that every agency would accept. It appears, okay, so it appears that every agency is looking at things a little bit differently. So someone has sent me a text, and I don't know who this person is, and they're saying Color is the rapid test for COVID-19. Color is the rapid test.
Oh, okay.
That's what they're saying. I don't know who the person is.
So that means a swab that they stick up however they're going to administrate it, up your nose, basically.
I don't know.
That's what that means?
The person didn't. Okay, so now I'm being told.
It's okay.
Color is the name of the lab that is doing the testing.
Oh.
Okay. I'm getting texts
so
left and right,
color.
so
See, they're not specifying this stuff,
put my phone down.
and it's so confusing. So it leaves.
Right. Well, send me the
Okay.
email, and then we'll give you we'll give you a professional answer. And if you want it to go up on the website
Okay.
for other people to look at, then give us the permission, and we'll put your question and
Okay.
your answer. So now another person is saying COVID-19 testing and screening, and they must have looked it up for large populations, and then they have parentheses color.com. Okay. I imagine all these people are right, so they're getting this information really quick. All right. Well, thank you for your call, Lorraine. We greatly
Okay,
appreciate it. And I look for the email.
Well, thank you for taking it.
You're very welcome. And so, listen.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. Listen, before I get to the next caller, I'm going to see if I can restate this, but I'm going to state it the way, as I call it, the smart people say it. Employees covered by the California Department of Public Health orders regarding employees in healthcare facilities and or correctional settings are not covered by this settlement. But Local 1000 retains the right to meet and confer over those orders. So we're still working on that situation as quickly as possible before October 15th. But they're saying that this current COVID settlement does not cover healthcare facilities and our correctional settings. So the employees who are, quote, in healthcare facilities or correctional settings, this current COVID settlement does not cover you. We're still trying to meet with them as soon as possible so we can figure out how to go from there on that situation with that mandate. All right, next caller. We'll try DLC 752 President Christina Evitt again, and then we'll go to Corey.
Good evening, Mr. Brown. Now can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Perfect.
Okay, I kept trying to unmute and it wasn't letting me unmute, and then it kicked me out.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
One thing is I'm 751,
Oh,
not 752.
forgive me.
For clarification.
Oh, boy.
It's okay, I'm just clarifying.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people keep saying 752, so it's not a problem. Number two, I have a request. When members call in, like the gentleman that called in about the nursing ratios, and he said he works for DSH and he doesn't have a job steward, would you find out what facility they work at or what their DLC is? Because my DLC has DSH as well. And when I talked to a member from Napa State, and they said that when they called the resource center, they were told they didn't have a steward for their bargaining unit. And I explained that it doesn't have to be for their specific bargaining unit. And that may be something that he had heard too. And it may be that they don't have a steward at their facility where he's at. But it would be helpful if those of us on the call could find out if it's somebody within our DLC, we'd be able to reach out to them as well. And the second thing I wanted to ask is, would Mary or Kelly, can you guys give Mary or Kelly my contact information? Because we are in dire straits for nursing at Calvet and Yountville, and I need to get some information on that. They're pulling nursing staff out of offices to cover the floors. So I need to talk with them a little bit, get more information on the stuff they had talked about earlier. I missed part of their information they were sharing earlier. Thank you.
Thank you, DLC 751 President Christina Evitt, and I believe I just shared your number with DLC 772 President Mary Dela Cruz, and you're right. 752, DLC 752 President is Kevin Healy. So Kevin, don't call and yell at me. I made a mistake. I apologize. All right. Corey. Good evening, Corey.
Hey, good evening, Richard. How are you?
I don't know. You tell me with all these questions you're about to ask me. because I know you're going to hit me. So go ahead.
No, actually, I actually want to thank you.
Oh, okay.
I know I called last week and I had a couple questions regarding the COVID-19 testing protocol. I did send you for information, and I really appreciate you getting back to me
Okay.
with all the updated information. That's the first part.
Okay.
The second part is I wanted to shed some light because I contacted my department around the testing protocols. And as far as my understanding is, I know you got a couple questions about color.
Yes.
So as far as my department described it to me is, color is the lab that they're using to doing the testing. So we will do a swab. We will self-attest our swab. We will hand that swab to the actual healthcare professional. They will send that to the lab, and we will get information within 24 to 48 hours. Now, with color, though, it does look like you do have to authorize yourself to give up some personal contact information rights. That when you sign up for their website to do the testing, such as your date of birth, your name, your address, and a couple other information that you technically check a box that you authorize them to use their services, and you will using their services, it also authorizes them to share your personal information with any of their vendors, the federal government, and state and local authorities. So that was one of my concerns, is when you actually go to the website, when you give them your information, those couple check boxes that you have to go through.
I see. I have no comment. I have no comment. All right. Thank you for calling in, Corey.
Thank you so much, Richard.
Thank you. You're very welcome. All right. So it's 7:46. I imagine we'll make Yolanda Williams the last caller. So go ahead, Yolanda. You're back on.
All right, thank you. In regards to the premium pay letters that you were supposed to send to Gavin Newsom, have all those letters been sent to him? Because I think I was probably the first one to send mine over to you. You said you was gonna get letters and you was gonna walk them through, so send your letters to you guys in regards to premium pay.
The petition. Did you walk in and
No, that was for different. That's something different. So hold on one second. That's something different. That's something. Because I don't. So you said you sent me that letter for the premium pay for Governor Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, you said send it, to you, and or email to the union, and then you would gather email to the union. You would gather all the letters in regards to people, asking about their premium pay, and you guys were going to walk that through and try to talk to Mr. Newsom in regards to premium and pay, why we should get that. So I'm asking, did the letters all go there, or are you still collecting letters?
You know what? Here's what we're going to do. You're going to resend me that premium letter, and we're going to send out in a newsletter about people sending us letters so we can walk this over to him. What day? How many do you think we should gather up before we walk him over there, Yolanda, for this premium pay? You think we should have 100 letters, 200? No, so I'm asking you, what number should we gather before we take all these emails over here regarding the premium pay? They've had this surplus in billions since January of 2021. You think we should have 100, 200? Give me a number.
Well, I would say probably about 300 or so.
Okay.
Because you have to put it out there on the website so people can send their things to you. Because obviously you forgot about it, because I'm telling you now,
So,
but you did say this prior.
And you know what? I'm glad that you made me remember, because now I'm going to do it. And that's how it's going to be. So you say 300, and now people are saying send out a petition. I think we should send out a newsletter saying you want a petition versus just send an email to me?
No, I'm saying, Richard, what I'm saying is send something out to the members so they can go ahead and know where to send their letter, or you can type something out so that people sign it or whatever,
Right.
but something to make it very easy for members to send it to the local so you guys can get them all in hand and do what you say you're going to do.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to send out a petition, and we're going to let everybody respond to it and send it back to us. And then we get at a minimum 300, and I guess that'll take us. That may take us 7 days. And then I'll walk it over there. That's a promise. I won't forget. Trust me. I will not forget. Do not let me forget.
Okay, well, thank you about that.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I'll keep you up on it.
I know you will.
Where is the testing? Where is the testing going to take place? Is it off-site or whatever they're going to do to give you testing if you're, unvaccinated? And then if you have to, be off work or whatever, they're going to pay for that?
Yes.
To go take the test?
Yes. That testing, I know, is not paid by us. It's paid by the state. I cannot tell you where each agency is going to do their testing at because we don't have a uniform testing policy. Each agency is developing their own way on how they do their tests, which I know a lot of people don't want to hear. So we didn't get that part exactly correct. But you will not have to spend.
Is it true that they can actually have an administrator? Is it true that they can actually have an administrator take some type of, course to be the person who administers the test?
I am not going to answer that question.
That's what I read. That's why I'm asking.
You know what?
And I'm like, how can an administrator or somebody who is a supervisor, just go take a course and then now they're educated in how to do the COVID-19 testing? Really?
So I am not a doctor or a nurse. I don't work in the medical profession, so I'm gonna back up. If you send that to me in the email, I will make sure that our legal staff addresses that email, and then you give us permit.
That was in the email thing that I read with you guys online. You told me the other day to look online and find this COVID thing, and I was reading it, and that's what it said. So that's what I was asking. But you have the side letter thing. It's not on there? That's the wrong one I'm looking at?
Yes, because what I was referring to just now online was our summary of our victory and the link that goes to the settlement agreement. And so I'm looking through the settlement agreement.
Okay, when I'll go back to, I'll find what I read where it says that the administrators can go ahead and take a course, and then they may be the one who administers the COVID-19 test to the employees in their department.
Okay, that's fair enough.
All right.
And then I want to make sure that we get this this email sent for this petition for this essential worker premium pay.
Okay, thank you, Richard. Have a good night.
Oh, you're very welcome. Oh, I see one last caller. I see Tyler. Tyler, go ahead, Tyler.
Hey, Richard, again, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
You hear me?
Yes, I hear loud and clear.
Just wanted to clear up the previous person's caller, the previous caller, Yolanda, I believe. In that colors program, the administrators or managers are supposed to, or they are going to be taking a online course which allows them to do the testing on the staff. That's what she's referring to, and that's why managers or administrators are going to be doing the swab testing on staff. after they take the video test, after they take the video course or online course or whatever that is.
So whoever's seeing this, you're gonna have to email me this, and then I want to talk to the our excellent attorneys here on staff, because my phone's blown up, and when the heavens blow up my phone, I better listen. So I'm not going to say anything openly on Facebook right now. I'm gonna get the exact answers. So what you've seen, people are going to have to email me this so I can get it forwarded, so we can get this answered and addressed, because we may have to grieve this. And I'm going through this settlement agreement, and I keep remembering that when it comes to this actual testing, that we still have the right to grieve that part of it.
No, the testing is separate from the vaccine. So
No, right. But
but
I'm saying in our current COVID agreement, we still reserve that right to grieve on the testing, on the application of the testing, on how it's being actually administered. So I'm looking through here really quick.
You can read the vaccine, not testing. That's from my read.
Okay. Because I'm looking really quick. Because I know we left that door open because of this reason. One second here.
But yes, I appreciate your dedication and all your hard work, so kudos to you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I knew tonight was going to be a hard night. All right. So we had fun. At least I did. And we talked about some really difficult issues. You know what? This may have been the first time when we talked about the COVID where people weren't yelling at other people. We had to mark a calendar. I think tonight was a good night. And I've mentioned before, if I've offended anyone with my words or actions from the past or today, and definitely in the future, then I ask you to please forgive me. Like I said, I know that a lot of times I say things that people don't want to hear. I get it. And I know sometimes people don't like my demeanor and how I carry myself, and they say that, you don't act like the president of Local 1000. You don't act like a president. Well, you know what? Maybe I don't act like a president. Maybe I'm your friend. Maybe that's why you heat me up and you call me at all hours of the night. Because you can't call presidents of large organizations and say the things you say to them. And, people have a tendency to speak their minds around me. And they say I'm confrontational and I'm argumentative, but yet people always want to talk to me. Even after they argue with me, they keep calling back. I don't understand it. Maybe it's just a certain thing about me. I get people to express themselves to me because they say, well, Richard's crazy and I can be crazy and he ain't going to say anything. That's true. I'm not. So you keep doing you. I'm going to keep doing me. And we're going to get through this. Like I said again, this COVID agreement is not perfect. But neither is life. And we're going to keep fighting. And I'm going to make sure that we send out that petition for that money that we're going to walk over to Governor Gavin Newsom. He should be in a great mood. He beat his recall, like I said he was going to do. And we're going to keep staying positive. And we're going to keep working through these confrontational, difficult situations. And I want to thank you for your time tonight. I'm Richard Lewis Brown. October 6, 2021. We will see you next week. Stay tuned. Thank you.